Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradari. Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Anacha Yamuna Tira Anacha Yamuna Tira Anacha Yamuna Tira Anacha Bhagavattvaya Vimunchati yada kaman.
Vimunchati yada kaman.
Vimunchati yada kaman.
Manavo manasi sthitam.
Manavo manasi sthitam.
Manavo manasi sthitam.
Manavo manasi sthitam.
Takiva pundarikaksha.
Tahiva pundarikaksha.
Takiva pundarikaksha.
Tahiva pundarikaksha.
Bhagavattvaya kalpate.
Bhagavattvaya kalpate.
Bhagavattvaya kalpate.
Bhagavattvaya kalpate.
Vimunchati yada kaman.
Vimunchati yada kaman.
Manavo manasi sthitam.
Manavo manasi sthitam.
Takiva pundarikaksha.
Tahiva pundarikaksha.
Bhagavattvaya kalpate.
Bhagavattvaya kalpate.
Please chant.
Vimunchati yada kaman.
Vimunchati yada kaman.
Manavo manasi sthitam.
Manavo manasi sthitam.
Tarahi eva pundarikaksha.
Takiva pundarikaksha.
Bhagavattvaya kalpate.
Bhagavattvaya kalpate.
Vimunchati yada kaman.
Vimunchati yada kaman.
Manavo manasi sthitam.
Manavo manasi sthitam.
Tahiva pundarikaksha.
Tahiva pundarikaksha.
Bhagavattvaya kalpate.
Bhagavattvaya kalpate.
Vimunchati yada kaman.
Vimunchati yada kaman.
Manavo manasi sthitam.
Manaso manasi sthitam.
Tareva pundarikaksha.
Tarayeva pundarikaksha.
Bhagavattvaya kalpate.
Bhagavattvaya kalpate.
Vimunchati.
Vimunchati
Gives up.
gives up.
Yada.
Yada.
Whenever. Kaman.
Kaman.
All material desires.
All material desires.
Manava.
Manava.
Human society.
Human society.
Manasi.
Manasi.
Within the mind.
Within the mind.
Titan. Situated.
Situated.
Tari.
Tarahi.
At that time.
At that time.
At that time only.
At that time only.
Eva.
Eva.
Indeed.
Indeed.
Pundarika Aksha.
Pundarikaksha.
O lotus-eyed Lord.
O lotus-eyed Lord.
Bhagavattvaya.
Bhagavattvaya.
To be equally as opulent as the Lord.
To be equally as opulent as the Lord.
Kalpate.
Kalpate.
Becomes eligible. O my Lord, when a human being is able to give up all the material desires in his mind, he becomes eligible to possess wealth and opulence like yours. Therefore, atheistic men sometimes criticize a devotee by saying, if you do not want to take any benediction from the Lord, and if the servant of the Lord is as opulent as the Lord himself, why do you ask for the benediction of being engaged as the Lord's servant? Sridhar Swami comments, Bhagavattvaya Bhagavatsamam Aisvaryarya. Bhagavatva, becoming as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, does not mean becoming one with Him or equal to Him, although in the spiritual world the servant is equally as opulent as the Master. The servant of the Lord is engaged in the service of the Lord as a servant, friend, father, mother, or conjugal lover, all of whom are equally as opulent as the Lord. This is attuned to Veda Tattva. The master and servant are different yet equal in opulence. This is the meaning of simultaneous difference from the Supreme Lord and oneness with Him. Vimunchati yada kaman manavo manasi sthitam takyeva pundarikaksha bhagavattvaya kalpate. O my Lord, when a human being is able to give up all the material desires in his mind, he becomes eligible to possess wealth and opulence like yours. Om Lalitanatha Prabhu. Tatsumintamina tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Kam Karoti Vacharam Panu Nandai Yat Kripa Tadaham Vande Sri Guru Tayam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Sri Mata Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namni Namaste Saraswati Devam Gauravani Prachai Vishesha Shunyavadi Pasthya
Guruvescha kripa sindhubheva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram
Hare Hare. So that's actually a good question. I mean, are we worshipping Krishna because we want to attain Krishna, or we want to attain Krishna's opulences? Here Prahlad Maharaj is saying that when one gives up all material desires from opulence, then one becomes as opulent as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and probably then mimics atheistic critics who would say that you externally pretend that you do not want to have any benediction from the Lord. You're free, but you just want to serve Him. But the servant becomes as opulent as the Lord. So it's just, it's just a roundabout way to get the opulence that you want. So that's a good question. Of course, the condition for actually entering Krishna's association is that one has to be completely free from all desires, because it's simply unpleasant for Krishna to have devotees around him who actually are more interested in his opulences than in him. And you can imagine if if we go and visit a friend who's very rich. I don't know if you have any friends who are who's very rich, very wealthy. But you come to his home and don't even care much about him, but you look at what a valuable furniture you have. You love valuable paintings, and he has a golden clock on the wall, and actually your big eyes, and actually it's obvious, could I have that? I bring that with me home. Don't care about him. I know that is a gross illustration, but that's kind of, he would get tired of me. I mean, I am here, and you don't even care about me, or if you care about me, you're just flattering me, because actually you want, you hope I'm giving you some donation or something like that. It's very difficult to be a rich person, actually. You find out actually you become very, very lonely, because you may have lots of people around you, but you have no friends. But all of them are just jackals or vultures, or suckers who are just trying to suck out the money from you. And that's one reason why I see wealthy people. They generally just stick to other wealthy people. You might say, but they're snobbish, they don't want to associate with the common people. But the point is, they have to, it's only other people who are equally wealthy that can be together with on normal terms, because they're not out to get something from them, because they have as much, they don't need it. That's why I say wealthy people, they're forced to stick together. But otherwise, it can become extremely lonely. We had our famous Mads Møller, he died a few years ago. The wealthiest, not only the wealthiest man in Denmark, one of the wealthiest men in the world practically. Very lonely man. He was uncomplex. He was lamenting in terms of newspaper articles, very lonely. And he was surrounded by people all the time, obedient servants who would, anything he said, his work was in order like that. So that, what an enviable position. But no, because you don't have any friends. They're only there around you to suck from you. So be surrounded by suckles. And that's why one has to be completely free from all material desires to actually enter Krishna's association. But then you become as equally opulent, but then you have to be completely not care about it. That's so and atheists, of course, they will say that it's just a roundabout way to get opulences by worshipping Krishna. But really the pure devotees, they actually have no, like Prahlad Maharaj, he has no, Nishingadev is testing him, he is offering him whatever you like, and we have seen Prahlad Maharaj reject it all. No, I'm not a merchant. I'm your servant because that is simply my nature. You're my master, I'm your servant, and I don't want anything else. And I'm very happy to have such a wonderful master like you. I'm very honored to be a servant and to be in association, and I don't want anything else. So that's an actual standard of devotional service. And of course, if one has other desires, still we should worship Krishna, because that is the potency of the path of devotional service. We will come to the pure level. Akarma, Savakarma, Karma, Moksha, Karma, Udavidi, Tivlena, Bhakti Yogena, Yadeta, Purusham, Param. Whether one is filled with material desires, or one wants liberation, or one has no desires, one should simply worship Krishna in strong devotional service, intense devotional service. And because one will get purified and come to the pure level, so one shouldn't be too concerned even if one is materially motivated. One will come to the perfect level. But it's the pure devotees whom we are aspiring to become like or to be servants of. They have no, they don't want anything from Krishna. They simply think Krishna is a wonderful person, and they love him and want to serve him. And as a lecturer probably becomes kind of a very fun, candid remark. This is very truth. He's talking about the difference between us who like motivated devotees and then the pure devotees, because the pure devotees love Krishna because he is a wonderful person and that he's God and very opulent. That's a side issue actually. They appreciate that. That's one. Something really. That's not what makes a difference. But whereas us who are very motivated, they're probably how is it put it exactly? There's something like that. Yes. So okay. So we have. We understood that Krishna is God. Okay, so then we agree to worship him because he's very powerful. It's not really. It's just because he's much more powerful than we are. Therefore, okay, so we agree to worship him. It's not really because of him. It's because of his opulence and power, and we feel fearful that he will throw us into hell if we don't worship him. Bad karma if we don't worship him like that. So but that's one sense. That's a level we are at, and or maybe that's a level we are at. So okay, we worship Krishna in any case, but of course we will, as long as we have material desires and so on, we should not expect to really taste this complete sweetness of devotional service. Something is there. Any contact with Krishna is a deep experience and is a higher taste. The point is, by getting in touch with Krishna, one gets a higher taste, and then one will give up the lower taste. We have this in the example of Dhruva Maharaj, as related in the Srimad Bhagavatam, because he has had a big material desire to become emperor of the whole universe, and even more than that. But then when he actually saw Krishna face to face, and he said actually he was so, now this is, I don't want anything else except to have you in front of me and behold you in front of me. And there was no other desire, I simply want your association. I was looking for broken pieces of glass. I thought it was that they were valuable, but it was just some broken pieces of glass I was looking for. And then somehow I just got a diamond instead. It was generally it's the other way around. We're looking for a diamond, we just get broken pieces of glass. Someone teaches us, but Krishna is the other way around. We're looking for something useless, and he gives the most valuable jewel. That was how Dhruva Maharaj was feeling. And that's, of course, ultimately the real result of devotional service. And that's the actual process. As one engages in devotional service more and more, one starts seeing all these material things as insignificant. One can really become detached, because one sees all these material opulences. They simply, first of all, they come and go. They're so flickering, and there's no satisfaction in them. Possessing material opulences and so on. Generally, it's just a burden. It is simply a disturbance. Beyond. We're not talking about. We need some minimal opulences to maintain our existence, and we can use opulences in Krishna service as well. But actually, to take more than what we need is a great burden. One becomes slave of the opulences, slave of wealth, and if one has tried it, one will actually one will lose one's desire for it generally. It's generally those who never try to material wealth. They are thinking, if I could also be like those wealthy people, I would be so happy. But those who tried it, they actually curse it. In many cases, they think it's the worst thing. They want to get rid of it. We had the example. Judge Harrison was like that. This quote from Judge Harrison said something like that. For 4 or 5 years, I was working like anything to become famous, and for the rest of my life, I'm trying to become forgotten. I wanted just to become forgotten. Nobody knew him, and just be a normal, common person. It was the worst, because everyone envies the fame of the Beatles in those days. Are you also aware of that? Were they also famous in India? But here in the West, it was like gods, and it was actually quite short. It was just a couple of years or something like that, a few years. But they were amongst the youth. They were like devas. They were more worshipped than royal people or any other. It was quite a phenomenon. We had these 4 young boys. They were just in the 20s or something like that. They were just playing music, but somehow they by false propaganda. They had talent. I guess they made some nice music. I liked it. I don't know if I still do it. But they made some nice music. Aside from that, it was a lot of false propaganda. You can make money, there were some powerful advertising companies behind them like that, but they became worshipped like anything, I don't think I've been seen neither before nor after. So one would say, wow, this is really fantastic, but Josh Harrison, who was in the middle of that, caught up in that show. He felt that, this is the worst. That this is really hell, and he wanted to get out of it, and he wanted just to be forgotten. Someone like whenever he now walked on the street, he would say, "Oh, that was Josh Harrison. Oh, I cannot even walk on the street." So that's one thing. Especially when one is in contact with devotional service, with Krishna and Krishna consciousness, and then one experiences the actual uselessness of all material opulences, that actually they don't satisfy one. They are very, very flickering. They come and go, and actually it's a really big burden to maintain it. Headache, anxiety, like anything, and you just get surrounded by envious people. So you see, this is not what it's. This is Maya. Maya is that which is not. It's an illusion. It appears to be something, really something you can enjoy, but actually, it's just it's a witch. It's simply a witch who is hiding behind a beautiful form. And as soon as you try to enjoy her, and she gets hold of you, then she shows her real face. Until opulence is like that. So, process of devotional service, that realization rich people can have, but they don't have the higher thing. But if we practice devotional service, we have some material desires like that, they'll go away. We'll have the higher taste, we'll have the higher knowledge, and we'll have the higher taste. And we can actually get to this platform where we are not interested in Krishna's opulences at all. It's an atheist, they may probably, as I said here, quotes or paraphrases as an atheist criticizing like that, but actually it's a cheap criticism. Devotees really are, it comes quickly. That if one is really absorbed in devotional service, one becomes actually very detached from the material opulences. And if we don't become that detached, then actually we're not practicing properly, because that is the result of practicing devotional service. Detachment. It's a we don't even really have to cultivate detachment separately. It becomes a byproduct of devotional service. Knowledge, detachment, they become byproducts from the practice of devotional service. Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayodhita Jnana Yata Shu Vairagyam Jnana Jaya Haitukam. Simply, causelessly, or one must say automatically, when one practices devotional service, one becomes detached from material desires. They simply disappear, and one becomes actually very wise, very knowledgeable by the practice of devotional service. So, and that's, and I think I can speak for myself. It definitely works, and one does become detached from